Recreation and Amenities Committee of the 11th of June. I will jump straight to agenda item number 1, election of chair. I would like to propose Jill Dodds as chair for RNA for the coming year.
I will second.
All in favour? Any other nominations? All in favour?
Thank you.
Fantastic. And then I step back. Oh, side steps, I presume.
Sidestep.
Side step.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. The last time I was chair of RNA was in 2011, and the last thing we did was to form the working group for the skate park. It's the last thing I did.
And it was
And it-
signed, delivered.
And it was delivered. It took a few years.
Yeah.
We had a few objections, but we got there. Yeah, so thank you very much. Election of vice chair. I'd like to propose Kelly Hinton for vice.
I will second.
It. All in favour? Great, thank you. Apologies for absence. I've got Kelly, Rory and Dave Eggleton, 3 of them. Apologies. Anyone else? Anyone know anyone else? Sarah, yes, yeah, okay. Declaration of interest, any declarations of interest? No? Public participation, well, we haven't got any public participation, so let's move on. Minutes, to approve the minutes of the 7th of May. Everyone happy that we approve those? Yeah, all in favour? Progress. Oh, progress is actually quite good, isn't it? Because there's lots of progress. What page is it?
7.
7.
7.
210.
It's gonna be a long night.
There we go. 7, yes. 7. Well, the basketball event, yep, that happened, and lovely lot of kids, and that was a great event. So we can take that off progress now. Riverbank repairs, ongoing, steps to the river ongoing, adventure playground again. Great, done. So there's 2 we can take off progress list.
Quite a few people saying how good it is.
Yes,
And
yeah.
how good it looks and the way it's been laid out and everything.
Any problems? No?
Oh, no, I'm just keen to, have there been any problems? I thought there might be.
Any problems, complaints?
There are still some snagging issues which are going to be completed week beginning 24th.
Does that include the footpath at the entrance?
Yes.
Okay.
And is it also the items that are, they were cordoned off, maybe they're no longer cordoned off?
No, they're no longer cordoned off. That was earlier. That was last week.
Last week.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
All good, all good.
Great.
I walked past it yesterday with 20 kids playing in it. Really good.
That was the kids one, not the eventual.
It was the adventure.
Oh, was it the eventual?
We have any feedback regarding the planting scheme? That looks great.
Amazing. Yeah, no, nothing but praise. It's been really good.
Good.
Kyle's done an amazing job.
Yes,
Definitely.
congratulations. The planting is lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think you were suggesting you'd quite like some feedback further down the line.
Yeah, just to see, you know, like if there, I think with anything, there's going to be a few kind of teething issues and, you know,
Equipment, why haven't we got this?
No, definitely, and any news is good news, you know, as long as people keep the info coming through.
Have we had any neighbours comment? No?
No, nothing
Okay.
yet.
Good. So that's 2 off. Recreation ground feasibility study, waiting for that, and the water fountain.
So we've got an installation date of the 2nd week in July.
Okay, good. 2nd week of June.
So after the go.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
That's during regatta, isn't it?
2nd week of
And
July.
second.
no.
Oh, second week. Oh, second week, not second
Mm.
or, okay, right.
Yeah, right, so progress finances. That is 9 to 11. Any comments on our finances? Didn't have so many weddings, did we? But we had many more funerals. It's the time of the times.
Any comments?
Got any comments? Anyone got comments? No. No. I think we were a bit ambitious with our temporary moorings income, weren't we? But, yeah, okay, well, thank you for that. We just need the weather to improve, don't we? And get people to use our car parks a bit more.
It was biggest floods we've had for 10 years.
Exactly, yeah. No, hasn't
I
been
think
good.
we're ambitious enough,
Yeah,
and they definitely know it.
that, yes, yeah. Jubilee Park all-weather pitch, the fencing, to consider extension of the ball stop high net fencing for all-weather pitch at Jubilee Park. Becky, do you need to add anything to your lovely full report?
I don't think so. We did get one more quote in this week, which was for 10850, so the recommendations for the.
Recommendations to hand, so I'm happy to propose that from the chair. Anyone else? Second, okay, all in favour? Or did you want to make a comment?
Yes, just a question, so, has there been any incidences like this before? Or were they not possible because we didn't have the whole pitch next to the pitch? Is that something changed to make it?
I think an overzealous hockey player, which
Yeah.
is possible, so now we know it's happened once, can't really ignore it. I know that parks often have to mend the fence that is existing, because hockey balls come at such a speed.
They are.
And sometimes they break the netting, but they kind of stopped, but they
Sure,
still go through,
sure.
they don't go through with such power, so parks do mend the netting quite often. So we're taking the opportunity of replacing the whole stretch because it's getting tired.
So will the new netting be as easy to mend if things go like that again?
So the new netting will be probably, obviously not as hard as metal, which is what is up at the moment, but it's the additional height that will stop the, as Becky mentioned, overzealous player hitting it over, which is what is happening, I believe.
I think it goes around the side because it's only in the middle section.
Yeah, so basically, when you're shooting at the goal, you've kind of got a section at the moment that has a higher fencing. So what we're trying to do is just carry on that higher fencing all the way along, just to stop anything from happening in the future.
And that fencing is quite old, the existing netting, so the new netting will be stronger just because it ages with the weather and time.
Yeah, so the height of the net will be what it is already,
Yes, but at the moment it's
and
only
it's
behind the
going to be
goals.
expanded,
It's going to go for the whole thing.
the whole width of
Yeah.
the whole.
No,
Because it's just
No.
around the goal area.
Just around the goal area.
it's just the-
And then the other side is track side, as in towards the train track,
Yeah,
which nobody can be at anyway.
right, so less chance of anything.
Less chance. The worst thing you can have is a lost ball.
Yeah, so the new netting, if the ball does go against it and tears it, whatever the language is, how would that be mended?
the same as you do now.
Yeah,
The same,
it would
right,
be,
so
it would,
no
it
extra.
would just be patch repairs.
Right, thank you.
Okay, you're okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thanks for answering that. So, all those in favour, please show. Thank you, so that's carried. Red Line Lawn refurbishment, review the specs for make recommendations on the refurbishment of Red Line Lawn. Lots here to look at, 17 to 29. Any comments?
I've got a
Stefan?
couple to kick off. I mean, generally, very supportive, looks very, very good, and also looks to be value for money as well, which is good. Can I just ask about the grey slate underneath the two trees? Why have we opted for trying to find out where they are? Existing is bark mulch and so, yeah, it's
Right at the
page
end.
28. Page 28. And the existing is grass, and the proposal is for a weed suppressant webbing with slate on the top. I mean, I'm asking the question for two reasons. A, biodiversity impact, because we're declaring a nature emergency to to try and get better biodiversity in this area as well, and also why we opted for slate and why not planting, let's say.
Okay, Sharon.
So if you look on page 28 of the agenda, you'll see the area around the tree that we're looking to lay the weed suppressant membrane.
Yep.
And do that on top. So as you see, it's a small area. It's round the roots of the tree. There's not much biodiversity net gain you can get there. At the moment, it is just a few weeds, basically, and it just looks unsightly and it's difficult to maintain. Hence the suggestion of the weed suppressant membrane, and then the plum slate, which would match the existing planter and what we would be doing with the other beds as well.
There are two areas there are. They replace bark mulch on the long bed to rear with plum slate.
Yes, indeed. So there is one area of plum slate at the moment, which is around the new planter at the bottom of the stairs. And the suggestion from the existing parks manager was that we basically, just to make it look as good as possible, is to replace the bark mulch with the plum slate, and then also mirror that underneath the tree at the same time.
And my final question is impact assessment. A, biodiversity. The proposed works will not result in a loss in planting other than a small amount of grass and weeds around or whatever. Have we investigated what we could do for this area to increase nature, biodiversity and all that stuff? Because that's what we should be doing for if we're spending 15 grand, then to spend an extra 500 or 1,000 or within the budget with biodiversity net gain, can we do anything? Can Kyle advise us what we could do?
So there is a difficulty there, which is the nature of the area. We had environmental visual order carried out by SODC, and actually we're still waiting for the final recommendations, but the verbal recommendations basically include you need to make it as basically robust as possible. The planting needs to be low maintenance and basically as tall as possible against the bridge to stop graffiti. And so whereas in lots of areas like Mill Meadows, we really take pride in doing as much as we can to promote biodiversity. This area is a very difficult and very specific area where the main any biodiversity again would be very small indeed, because it is a very small area and very tricky. And in order to make it sustainable and in order to make it robust, then it's really difficult to achieve.
But I'm going to I agree with you on all of that, but this has got to be robust in terms of, you know, potential vandalism, etc., etc., etc. But there are areas behind the blah blah blah. The ribbon here at page 26, 27, where there is a bed. I just would have liked to have seen, you know, a bit of the report that just says, and we're not going to gain acres from this, but we could gain some bits. So I would just like, I'm not going to block this at all because it's a good scheme. Could Kyle get down there and actually suggest, or somebody suggest, that in fact there are things that we can do to get more biodiversity in it.
Okay, do we have
That's
just
all.
a reply?
Yeah,
And then we'll have councillor Jackson.
So the bed there on page 26, that bed is directly in front of obviously the Grade 1 listed bridge, as we know, and that wall is where you see the most graffiti. And we've just had a lot professionally cleaned off. And the environmental visual order has basically said your best bet there to stop the graffiti is to get loss of tall planting there, basically tall
Yeah.
shrubs or whatever. But they would be similar shrubs to what you've got there already. So there are a lot of established shrubs, some younger ones as well. And that picture doesn't show the extent of it. The bottom one does, but we need to grow those bigger basically to protect the wall behind it. And that's the main recommendation. If there are particular shrubs that will be better for biodiversity reasons, wonderful.
That's
Um,
in a way is the point I'm making, is if we are going to put, you're right about growing the shrubs bigger, and pyrocanthus, so you can't spray paint behind it, etc., whatever. But that's all I'm asking is that when you replant that ribbon with tall shrubs and grow them up, then choose ones that the experts say are nature biodiversity.
Definitely, everything that Kyle looked into, he has kind of the sections of what he's looking for, and biodiversity is one of them.
Great. That's fine.
Councillor Jackson.
I think there might be a biodiversity gate opportunity that we haven't spotted. That there are some trees which, as far as I remember, are completely wound up with festoon lights. We should remove them.
Make Andy shine. I'm with you though.
That's stone like.
I see.
Yeah, there's certainly outside of Red Line Wall, there's certainly 2 trees there which are covered in them. Red Line Wall as well, I think, from memory. Because
no.
No, I'm not sure that one is.
So the tree at Red Line Lawn does not currently have festoons.
Right.
The licensee has suggested putting some. So that actually it's not festoon lighting, but it's LEDs, like LED string lighting
Yes, around the tree.
around the tree. Yeah. So but not large festoon lighting. But the 2 trees in question are outside of Red Line Lawn. But that could certainly be something that could be raised at TNC when we're looking at the Christmas festival.
Yeah, so are we saying that the tree that's on Red Line Wall doesn't have the lighting on it?
There are 2 trees. The one established tree does not have lighting in it. I believe it did at some point, and there's a small tree that doesn't.
Okay. Any other comments?
Oh, sorry,
No, I have a second one, so do you go first?
Come on, let's finish your second one.
Has the graffiti been cleaned off?
It has, yes.
Is the H still there?
The H is not on our land and
Okay,
is not something we're touching.
did we have to apply for planning permission to clean the graffiti off very well listed structure?
It's maybe asking forgiveness rather than permission.
Okay,
if it is required,
yeah,
if it is required.
that same team
Hmm.
could nip over the river.
They could possibly.
Yeah.
We did make sure that it was carried out by F. Jones stonemasons, who are local stonemasons who
Perfect.
use the
Yeah.
DOT technique, which
They've
is
probably
used
got the
on,
availability there,
yeah,
down.
which is used on National Trust buildings. It is the one technique which is approved for grade 1 listed structures. So we did make sure that it was carried out to the highest standards. And yes, yeah, we felt it was it was a priority to get it clean.
Ask for forgiveness. The other side should do the same.
Absolutely.
If you get to it quickly, that's the key.
Sarah, did you have anything more to say?
Yeah,
Or-
I wanted to kind of echo councillor Gashak's kind of perspective, which is we're not doing anything to harm biodiversity, but the question is what can we do to improve it? So I like that perspective, and I hope that is a perspective we carry with any kind of project proposal that we discuss. I suppose there's an element of what looks good versus what is also good for the environment, and I think there could be a slight disagreement there. So, you know, if I look at this tree stump, yes, it does look a bit messy. But interestingly, dandelions are one of the best plants for pollinators. And, you know, I don't know why there is such a big war on dandelions, but bees love them. So I would just echo Councillor Gatchak's kind of sentiment here, and if we can just explore what would a nice planting that could look around the tree stump that does make it look nice could be investigated. I totally get what you're saying about having higher, bigger hedges to prevent graffiti. And I'm sure that there is a contact that we can hopefully pass your way in terms of asking what would those native hedges be, you know, basically hedges is a really good, positive, biodiverse area. What would you do with the plants that are there? It's not a question, I hope they're not thrown away, but maybe they can be repurposed somewhere else. Let's do something sustainable with them. And I think the final point is around this roof of the building. Has anyone explored if there are any nesting swifts and nesting birds in these roofs? Or bats or something?
No, it's a very, you can probably see the underside of the roof on.
Yeah.
page, and you can, yes, you can see that it's a very simple, it's very simple structure. There are no nests there, at all. It's just boarding with shingles, straight on top.
If there are any opportunities for like swifts are in decline, let's say if there's, and I'll echoing the same thing later this evening. You know, there are things that we could do.
I'll answer that. Because I did speak to the person at Greener Henley Nature Day on Saturday. And you have to have at least a 15-foot drop from your swift box to the ground. So you couldn't
Yeah.
put one there.
Yeah.
I just did
Yeah.
that.
What I would say is that the purpose of this is basically to stop it being in quite such a dilapidated state. It's to get it back to a good, manageable standard that we can be proud of. There will then probably be opportunities at a later date to maximize the potential of that. This project is quite discreet in its nature. It is simply looking at getting things looking neat and tidy and up to a good standard, basically.
Can I then propose that we accept?
Yes, do I have a seconder? Glenn? I would make one comment from the chair. The best thing we could do to improve, well, thank you for the report, Becky, it's very comprehensive, or Sheridan's report. The way we could improve Red Line Lawn most would be to get rid of the mermaid. And I can't stand the mermaid.
Very
It's
subjective.
been it's very subjective and it's been my hobby horse forever, ever since it went up. I said this once and the next day somebody threw it in the river. Absolutely nothing to do with me, but it did get thrown in the river. I think we should have, we're going to have a naked lady there then. Let's have a figure of David, you know, Michelangelo's David or something. I think it's.
I would second that proposal for a second.
I think it's very sexist and I just don't like it and I never
Well,
have.
mermaid and
But we are split.
It's far too anatomically accurate. That's the thing I don't like about it.
I've never seen one in real life, so I don't know.
Well, I've seen the artist in real life.
Did you meet the Amaryllis? Yes, yes, yeah. Well, anyway,
Yeah.
there's absolutely
You
nothing I can do about it.
I remember.
I'm in favour of it, so therefore
We are a split committee on
Yeah.
the artistic,
Absolutely fine.
Of course, if
So
it goes in the
that's
river
what
tonight, it'll be in trouble.
exactly. Someone hearing. So we have a proposal, we have it seconded. All those in favour? That Amaryllis goes in the river. Right, let's move, nothing to do with me.
Tried flooding it, I didn't swim away.
Right, and the next item, let's get back to the agenda again. All these papers. This huge report. Where am I? Old Fire Station Gallery, West Street stores, re-roofing and Fernmile Chapel repairs. Becky, would you like to say a few words to this huge report?
Well, is there any questions? I think the report explains the situation and the way. I think the way to address it is to get consultant who's expert in this field to be able to plan authorities and buildings and choose the 10 documents. And so this is just a point of view consultants and then for some of them will come back to.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very comprehensive report. They are beautiful chapels. And they're grade 2 listed and we have to look after them. Built in 1868, height of Victorian wealth. And we have to look after them. They are hugely expensive to look after. Any other comments? Any more comments? Sarah. Yes, Sarah.
Yeah, sorry, it's just really to say, you can tell I've been on a webinar about burns and stress today. It's very, my little champion thing, like that I'm leaving today, but hopefully I'll manage to be doing that all the time. I suppose it's great that there's a back report and there is no evidence of bats. I suppose what other wildlife, what other birds could potentially nest in here? So whoever the lead consultant is, I ask them to look at opportunities for biodiversity in their cave, or just look at how can we encourage some of our endangered species, particularly birds that would find nested in this particular area, whether it's a swift brick, for example. But Tom might be able to advise on on the but yeah, that would be my general request is that yeah, there are no bats, but what else could we do really positively for biodiversity, especially with these old buildings, which some of these endangered birds, not just birds, but would benefit from. And again, I can pass on contact who could help with that.
Just from that perspective, if there is,
Yeah.
apologies.
Yeah.
If there is, because of the way we're restructuring climate and emergency and nature and emergency working groups in terms of consultancy, we would potentially we're doing these kind of things. We're going to have the climate people working with the consultants to help. Would that be something?
Yeah, but potentially, I think that, I mean, one of the reasons for shifting it is to make sure that we're all aware. So obviously when these things are taken in place, it's looking at insulation or from a decarbonisation perspective. But certainly making the use of the Oxfordshire Biodiversity Officer and reaching out to them for advice. The South Oxfordshire District has got a biodiversity officer.
Yes, indeed, met with them yesterday.
So I think there's an element of doing the research, but then also reaching out and,
Yeah.
but yes.
I guess just putting processes in place to make sure that every time we have something like this, we all know that the boxes are ticked and the tick boxes are checked. And therefore, we don't have to go, and have we done this, and we have to make sure that it's an assumption that it's done every time. So I think that's a purpose.
Anyone else wish to make a comment? Now, I know the recommendation is going to resolve to recommend.
Yes, sorry.
To FSM as its capital expenditure, so we just amend the recommendation, recommended the committee resolves to recommend to FSM that company B is appointed to act as lead consultant. I'm happy to propose that from the chair. Anyone, you'd like to second it? All those in favour? That's unanimous. And I think that's the last item on the agenda, isn't it? I'm deliberately not quite as speedy as Kelly.
Sometimes that's a good thing.